English shadowing technique or English conversation practice? Which is best to accelerate native-like fluency? Stay tuned to find out which technique to use best according to your goals from a simultaneous and consecutive interpreter. Hello, welcome back to my channel, or if you're new here, welcome. I'm Francisca from English to Thrive. You can follow me here on Instagram, and if you're excited about this video, subscribe because we release videos every week for ambitious professionals with a growth mindset who want to materialize a career opportunity in English. Now, both these techniques are super useful to improve English speaking skills, but they both serve different purposes. One is for if you want to improve alone, or you're like, I don't have anyone to practice with. Have you ever said that? I know you have. Now, in English conversation practice, of course, you need someone, but interaction is also necessary to practice communication in English. As a professional simultaneous interpreter myself and a coach who teaches professionals native-like fluency in English, my students, for example, use this technique every single day in a plan that I give them. They can see results like this. Like their spoken English has improved significantly. Not only that, but they start thinking more in English and they become more confident as well. Now, stay till the end because we are going to do a live practice so you can have some fast wins in your fluency journey. Now, let's start with what shadowing is. Shadowing is an exercise in which you repeat an audio from a native English speaker. So you repeat the words after they are said, immediately after. So it is challenging because you need to keep up with the pace. So if it isn't a fast audio, you need to try and balance both what you're hearing, listening, and then what you're thinking, and saying it out loud in the same language. The audio could be a speech, a podcast, an English video, even this video. By the way, if you want full information on how the technique works, you can check out this video right here. We also have practical exercises that you can do. Now, what's important is that you mimic the exact intonation, pronunciation, and rhythm as closely as possible. Because remember, if you want to speak like a native English speaker, you have to imitate a native English speaker. Of course, this is an exercise that I recommend if you're already an intermediate. Most students that we work with are intermediate, low to high, because you already have vocabulary and all you need is to loosen your tongue a little bit. Now, because as an intermediate, you already have a lot of grammar base, you already have a lot of vocabulary, all you need is to accelerate fluency even further and gain skills like thinking in English. What this exercise does, it gives you advantages like improving pronunciation because you are listening to the pronunciation of a native English speaker. And so when you repeat what they say, you mimic how they pronounce. It also enhances intonation and rhythm because there's a certain flow of every language, right? English is not very musical, not like Spanish, but there is a certain musicality. Of course, the more you repeat after an audio from a native English speaker, that is going to make your speech sound more native-like. Now, the biggest advantage of this exercise is that you can do it on your own. Yes. So this eliminates the whole excuse of, I don't have anyone to practice with. Yes. So if you're a little shy, if you're just starting to gain more confidence, this is great if you want to practice alone. Of course, to see results, you do need consistency and discipline because it's like when you're going to go to the gym, right? You cannot go just once and then, well, I'm just gonna have abs without exercising and without eating properly. Just a little thought. So you do need a little bit of discipline and habits, and we do have an amazing video on how to gain habits in English. You can check it out right here. But yeah, it is an excellent choice if you want to improve fluency by yourself. Next, we're gonna watch an example of me doing some shadowing, and then after, I want you to try it yourself. Yes. So you're gonna have 30 seconds of an audio. The idea is that you repeat it. Now I'm gonna leave the text there So if you need it, you can read it once, but the idea is that you listen to it and you repeat it, and try not to read the audio. I think if you don't know every word, then you try to imitate the sound. Okay, you can do it as many times as you want, and then we're gonna add a level of difficulty. Then you're gonna do it in 1 minute with a different audio. Same thing, text is gonna be there. You can read it once, but then try and do it without reading. And then after you do the exercise of 30 seconds, then the one of 1 minute, I want you to do the one of 1 minute again, and at the same time grab a notebook and write what you had for breakfast today. Even if it's not perfect, whatever, just write it, and then it's a little fun exercise for your mind to try and balance. Because remember, if it is challenging, it is what's going to transform you. All right, so I went to this website, which is royalty-free podcasts. Okay, we don't want to mess with copyright issues. So I am going to set the clock and I'm going to shadow for 30 seconds. Now, after you watch this, it's going to be your turn to shadow some exercises for 30 seconds, 1 minute, and then 1 minute while writing what you had for breakfast today. It's going to be a fun challenge. So let's start.
Francis. Royal Insider Deep Crown
Hold on,
tells us
Deep Crown.
these
Hold on.
Sunday D-Day
Please,
commemorations
someday,
represent one of the royal
represent
family's
one of the
most
royal
critical
family's
functions,
most critical
honoring
functions,
the immense sacrifices
honoring
that
the immense
safeguarded
sacrifices
Britain's
that
freedom,
recently
while
played,
deftly leveraging such
deadly
symbolism to cement the
symbolism
monarchy's
through
international
international
prestige.
prestige.
Make no mistake,
Make
as
no
bureaucratic
mistake,
and archaic as the
bureaucratic
trappings of royalty
as the
may
trappings of
seem,
royalty may
these
seem,
public displays of reverence
what we
are
think of
empathy
reverence
and are master
and
classes
a master
in
class
fortifying the crown's
in
political
the
capital on a
political
global
capital
stage.
on a good stage.
You witness the consummate
You
professional
witness the
showcasing
consummate
their talents,
profession
the monarch's
talents,
deftly projected
the late.
solemnity intersecting with the subtlest hints of relatable human emotion.
All right, that was an audio I've never heard before. And by the way, it is a challenge. So I am going to put the text in the next exercise for you, but I suggest, my advice is that you shadow even if you don't understand every word, and even if you, like, I made a lot of mistakes now because it was really fast, and again, it's an audio I'd never heard, but the idea is that you imitate the sound, and that it is a challenge, because a challenge is what's going to transform you. So go ahead and do it yourself now. In any city but New York, it would be considered a big store, but it could not, of course, compare with Macy's and Rick Simpson and Crawford's and other large bazaars, equally well known. It followed the methods of these stores, however, and generally had some article in which special bargains were offered. When Mr. Little led the way into the store, where from 25 to 30 salesmen were employed, besides cash boys and girls, Scott, who was not used to American shops, thought it a very large one, and respect for Mr. Little increased as a merchant on a large scale. Most of us forget, as Andrew Lang says, with an ease and readiness only to be acquired by practice, and would agree with Montaigne that if I be a man of some reading, yet I am a man of no remembering. To recall what we read, we must first of all pay attention to it. Attention has been styled the mother of memory. It is naturally united to interest. We attend best to what we care most about, but we may watch over our minds and force them to return when they wander, and attention may be made habitual by repeated and vigorous efforts of the will. There must be continuity of work, says Thomas A. Edison, the inventor. When you set out to do a certain thing, never let anything disturb you from doing that. This power of putting the thought on one particular thing and keeping it there for hours at a time comes from practice. Power and machinery, money and goods are useful only as they set us free to live. They are but means to an end. For instance, I do not consider the machines which bear my name simply as machines. If that was all there was to it, I would do something else. I take them as concrete evidence of the working out of a theory of business, which I hope is something more than a theory of business, a theory that looks toward making this world a better place in which to live. The fact that the commercial success of the Ford Motor Company as being most unusual is important only because it serves to demonstrate, in a way which no one can fail to understand, that the theory to date is right. Considered solely in this light, I can criticize the prevailing system of industry and the organization of money and society from the standpoint of one who has not been beaten by them. Now, comment below, how was your experience? Have you tried the shadowing technique? Was it challenging? Comment below. And by the way, if you're interested in practicing even more, I have an amazing free audio for you, a shadowing exercise so you can practice yourself at home and get those fluency results. Remember, consistency is key. Download it below. Now, English conversation practice, of course, is fundamental to increase fluency. And not only that, but confidence as well. Now, in this case, you do need another person, of course, to communicate and talk and speak. Unfortunately, sometimes we don't have that person. So that's why shadowing, comes in handy. But it is important to communicate and have that real life engagement and interaction with another native English speaker. I try and communicate with friends from like Canada, the US, England, every time that I can. Not only that, like through Zoom calls and audio messages, because that keeps my brain full of my English words. And of course, that makes sure that I use the words that I learn every single day in real life conversations. Now, I recently made a video on how you can accelerate vocabulary and of course use it in real life conversations, so you never forget those expressions. You can check it out right here. The important thing is that you do have someone that, if it's not a native English speaker, someone that has a native like accent or has a good intonation. Why? Because everything you hear is how you speak. So it's very important that you interact with a person that can help you practice. Now, of course, inside our program, we do have a community, we have speaking bodies, we have the chance for you to speak and practice. If you want to book a call, it's our signature program where we help professionals go from feeling limited, frustrated, to confident and fluent so that they can materialize a career opportunity. Link is below if you want to apply. But it is important that you add that into your practice. Conversation practice is super important so that you can experience real life English, real life conversation with someone in real time. Of course, there's the added pressure that if you don't have a lot of vocabulary, you're speaking with a colleague in a company and you're still working on your fluency, it will feel uncomfortable if you're like you don't know how to respond. So that will build confidence because it will make you step out of the comfort zone. And if you want to learn how to step out of the comfort zone in English, we do have also an amazing video. I'll link it below as well. But yeah, that discomfort and that added pressure is something that will help you respond quickly to speaking scenarios. Now, shadowing is like already information that exists. You have an audio, you repeat it. With English conversation practice, it's more challenging in the sense that you have to create your own ideas. So you do have to have a little bit of a more advanced level to have the information within you to practice. And if you're a little bit shy when it comes to speaking, which like many of my students have this, I do suggest that you double down on English conversation practice. And that is what's going to make you step out of the comfort zone. Plus, that will provide you with some social interaction, dynamic, and of course, the cultural context and engagement that is very important as well for a language learner. All right, so now that you have a little bit of context on why English conversation practice is important as well to improve English speaking skills, here are 5 topics that you can use with your conversation partner in English. You can talk about getting to know each other, also talk about AI and how it's affecting like business, employment. You can talk about the experiences of learning a foreign language like English. And if you have moved from like one country to another, as many of my students do, like they're from Latin America and then they go to the US or Canada, you can talk about cultural shock and adapting to a new environment. Or you can do some networking. By the way, I just want to rave about this. One of my students, she's in Canada. She was in a networking meeting the other day and she was like, I feel so confident because they thought I was a native. And I'm like, yes, the system is working then. Now, of course, I suggest that you combine both elements to accelerate fluency. And it will depend on your goals. If you want to, again, have that native-like pronunciation, intonation, if you want to think in English more, then I suggest shadowing. And that is, of course, if you don't have enough vocabulary yet, it can also serve you to learn vocabulary. But if you already feel like you think in English and it's more like you lack the confidence and you want to step out of the comfort zone, you want to meet more people, you want to have that social and cultural interaction, then I do suggest that you prioritize English conversation practice. But if you combine both, then my friend, you're set up for success. Now, a balanced approach of both is perfect to ensure you develop both the technical aspects and the interactive and dynamic aspects of language learning. Now, of course, I mentioned it earlier in the video, but if it is the whole package that you want, the whole transformation of as a professional going from limited, frustrated to confident and fluent so you can materialize a career opportunity coming your way, then I suggest that you book a call. Now we have limited spots for our program. Book a call, let's have a chat, and if you have any questions, feel free to let us know in the comments below. I make sure that I assist you in the very best way that I can and give you some extra tips. Now I hope this video was very useful for you. Do not forget to subscribe so you don't miss the next video. Like it, and I suggest that before you go, you watch this. This is the shadowing technique and it is the exercise explained in depth. And this because, again, confidence is so important and this will help you overcome anxiety while speaking the language and improve your English speaking skills. See you in the next one.